everyone. Today we'll see basics of serial communication. Serial communication is one of the common method for transmitting the data between the devices like a computer and a printer. Serial communication is a single line communication over which the data is transferred. Only one bit of information is transmitted over the serial data lines. You can see the difference between the parallel transmission and the serial transmission that is shown here. In the parallel transmission, you can see we have many number of lines. You have 8 lines here for transmitting the 8 number of data bits. You can transmit all these 8 number of data bits at once with the help of the parallel communication, where you need to use more number of lines for transmitting the data. That increases the cost, as well as that makes it impractical for longer distance communications. So there comes into the picture the serial communication. It uses only one line of transmission, so you'll have only one communication line to transmit the data. Okay, so the data is sent serially here, a bit by bit. You'll transmit the data one bit after another bit, so a bit by bit data is transferred from the transmitter to the receiver, and here the cost is less compared to the parallel communication. And parallel communication is preferred for short distance communications, whereas serial communication is preferred for the longer distance communications. So with respect to different factors, the differences are shown here for the serial and the parallel communication. So you can look into the table given below here. Comparison is given for different factors here. So the first factor, how many number of bits transmitted at the clock pulse. If it is a serial communication, only one bit is transferred. If it is a parallel, n number of bits are transferred, which means that if you have 8 lines, you can transfer 8 bits of data in parallel communication. If you have 16 bits, that means 16 lines of data. If you are having 16 lines, then you can transmit 16 bits of data. Okay, and number of lines required, it is obviously serial means only one line you will be having, and you will be transmitting only one bit of information. But coming to the parallel, it depends on the number of bits you want to transmit. So if you want to transmit 10 bits, 10 parallel lines are required. If you want to transmit 16 bits, 16 bits, 16 lines are required. 20 bits you want to transmit, 20 lines are required. And when it comes to this date of transfer, the rate at which the data is transferred, that is speed of data transfer, you can see that serial is slow. Yes, because you are transmitting only a bit, only one bit at a time. But fast parallel communication, because we are transferring the more number of bits at a time, right? So we are transmitting more number of bits at a time, so the parallel communication is fast compared to the serial communication. And what is the cost of transmission? Obviously cost of transmission is low for serial communication, because you are using only one line of communication, so the hardware is going to come down, so cost is also going to come down. But when it goes to the parallel, you require more number of lines from the transmitter end to the receiver end, so it increases the cost of the transmission, obviously. And then what are the different applications where these serial and parallel are used? Applications, when it comes to application serial, so you can see long distance communications, like between two computers, you can transmit the data, okay, between two computers. For a long distance communication, you can use this serial communication. And when it comes to parallel communication, it's a short distance communication. As I told you, if you have a short distance of communication, like you can transmit the data from a computer to the printer, or a computer to the projector, so where you have a nearby distance communication, short distance communications, you can prefer the parallel communications. So that is the basic type of communications we generally use, serial and then parallel communication. And there are the different areas where the serial and parallel communications are preferably used. And when it comes to the type of data transfer, okay, type of data transfer, we are having two types of data transfers. One is the asynchronous data transfer, another one is the synchronous data transfer. We will be having two types of data transfers. One is the synchronous data transmission, another one is the asynchronous data transmission. Okay, so what is this synchronous transmission means? So whenever you want to transmit the data from transmitter to the receiver must know that when the data is being transmitted from the transmitter, and when the receiver has to receive the data, and at what point the communication is going to end, or at what point the communication is going to start. Okay, what is the data in that uh, bits received? Okay, we'll be transmitting a few number of bits, right, to the receiver. So what is the data in that number of bits that has received? So everything has to be known. Okay, so for that we have two types of data transfers. One is synchronous, another one is asynchronous. Okay, in synchronous, what we will do is we will use a clock signal. We use a simple clock signal, and we use the positive and negative pulses of the clock, that is the rising edge and falling edge of the clocks. And then we go for the transmission and reception of the data. We synchronize the transmission and reception of the data at the transmitting end and the receiving end. So how that is done here, you can look into the basic diagram that is shown here. You are transmitting some data known as 61H. 61H is the data, that is the hexadecimal number. You need to mention that 61H hexadecimal number in the binary. So when you represent that in binary, you will be getting 6 value is 0110, and then 1 value is 0001. So these are the 8 bits. This is the value for 61H hexadecimal. So these are the 8 bits. Now you want to transmit in synchronous transmission. So when you want to transmit these bits in synchronous transmission, you need to use the clock signal. Okay, you need to use the clock signal. So clock, you will be having a rising edge as well as falling edge. So this is falling edge 0 to 1, sorry, falling edge. So falling edge is always 1 to 0, and then you have a rising edge. So rising edge is always from 0 to 1. Okay, so you'll be having 1 to 0 falling edge and 0 to 1 rising edge. So what happens at the falling edge is transmitter sends the data. What happens at the rising edge is receiver reads the data. So there you have the synchronization between the transmitter and the receiver. Between the transmitter and the receiver, the same clock frequency, same clock signal is applied. Okay, the timing is provided, same clock signal is applied between the transmitter and the receiver. And whenever the clock goes from 1 to 0, the transmitter sends the bit. Whenever the clock goes from 0 to 1, the receiver receives the data. So in the first clock pulse, 1 bit of transmission will be completed, and for the next clock pulse, another bit of data will be transmitted, and for the next clock pulse, another data bit will be transmitted. So likewise, for 8 clock pulses, your 8 bits of data will be transmitted. So you can see the complete picture. Let me erase this. Let me clear this. Okay, so you have a clock, 8 bits of clock pulse are applied, and 8 bits 0110 and then 0001. Okay, that is 61H value that is transmitted. So whenever you are transmitting the data in synchronous transmission, you can see that the bit 7 is transmitted first. Okay, bit 7 is transmitted first, that is MSB bit. Okay, bit 7 is MSB bit, most significant bit, and you have bit 0, right? So that bit 0 is the LSB bit, least significant bit. So in synchronous communication, MSB bit is transmitted first, and then at last you will get the LSB bit. When it comes to asynchronous transmission, LSB will be first transmitted and then MSB. That also we'll look into the diagram also now. Okay, that is about synchronous transmission. Simply you are going to use the clock and use its rising edge and falling edge for transmitting and receiving the data, start of the data transfer and end of the data transfer. Now when it comes to the asynchronous transmission, okay, when it comes to asynchronous transmission, we will be not having a clock signal to represent the transmission of the data, just like in the synchronous transmission. Here you are going to use separate bits, additional bits along with the data. So along with 61H data, you are going to use some additional bits as the start bit, stop bit, if any parity. So these all data, the start bit, stop bit, and your data bits and any parity, all these are combined, and then it is transmitted at the transmitter end, and at the receiver end also it will receive the entire part. Okay, so here you can see what is happening here. So data 61H, so if you want to transmit the data 61H, 61 means it is 0110 and then 1 is 0001. In the case of synchronous transmission, first you have transmitted the MSB and then last you have transmitted the LSB. Now here you start at LSB, transmitting the data from LSB. So your LSB bit is 1, you can see that bit 0 is transmitted first, bit 0 is transmitted first, and bit 7 is transmitted last, bit 7 is 0. So this 0th bit, okay, this is MSB, this is bit 0, okay, this is bit 7, 0 1 2 3 4 5 6 7, you can count it. Okay, so 0 to 7 bits. So LSB bit is transmitted first in the asynchronous transmission, and the MSB bit, that is the 7th bit, MSB bit, is transmitted at the end of the data. Okay, and you can see additional bits along with bit 0 to bit 7, that is called as a start bit. So start bit is a 0 bit that is used to indicate the start of the data transfer. The start of the data transfer is indicated with the help of the start bit. After the start bit, whatever is the values, that is the data. So receiver is going to extract that data, and then at the end you are going to provide the stop bits. So what this stop bits says is end of the data transfer. For ending the data transfer, you can use 1 or 1.5 or 2 bits. Okay, so you can use 1, 1.5 or 2 bits can be used to indicate the end of the data transfer as a stop bit. Here, if you are not transmitting any data, okay, if you are not transmitting any data, then it is called as high. Your line will be kept at high, so that is called as logic 1 or mark. Okay, so here logic 1 we called as mark and logic 0 we called as space. Okay, in asynchronous communication, logic 1 we called as mark and logic 0 we called as the space. Asynchronous communication is most popularly used compared to the synchronous communication, because asynchronous communication comes at low cost, because no additional hardware is required, as we are including the start and stop bits along with the data that to be transmitted. So no additional hardware is included. Your asynchronous communication comes at a cheaper rate. But when it comes to the synchronous communication, you need to use a separate clock for that, which increases the hardware, then thereby increasing the cost of the system. Okay, so most of the communications are preferred as asynchronous communications. Okay, there are cases where synchronous communications are also used. Okay, but asynchronous is more popular than synchronous. And logic 1 we called as a mark and logic 0 we called as a space. So that is about asynchronous communication and synchronous communication. These are the two types of communications. That we mostly used. Let me erase this. Okay, let us look at the advantages and disadvantages of this synchronous and asynchronous communication. So what are the advantages of synchronous communication? Is that the only advantage of the synchronous communication is data transfer is the low overhead. So what is overhead means? The additional bits. Whatever we are doing in synchronous communication is we are transmitting only the data. No additional bits are transmitted along with the data. That means there is no overhead except the data in synchronous communication. So that is the main advantage. That means whatever the data you are transmitting comes as the speed of the data that you are transmitting. So the speed will be high in case of synchronous communication when it compares with the asynchronous communication. So that is one of the important advantage of synchronous communication. When it comes to disadvantages of synchronous communication, it is more complex and hardware is expensive. As you want to use the clock signal, you need to synchronize the transmitter and receiver properly. Then only you can assure the data reception at the and transmission properly and perfectly. So for that, it becomes somewhat complex, and the hardware is also going to be expensive. That is the disadvantages with synchronous communication. And advantages and asynchronous advantages and disadvantages. So what is the main disadvantages of asynchronous is that additional overhead. So disadvantage is overhead. Synchronous is not having any overhead, but asynchronous is having the overhead. That is, you are adding start bit, stop bit, and additional parity bits are also included in case if required. So these and all decreases the rate of data transfer for the asynchronous communication. So that is one of the important disadvantage of asynchronous communication. But what are the advantage? One of the advantages, see, it is simple. It doesn't require any synchronization because synchronization is done with the help of start and stop bits. No additional synchronization is required for this synchronous communication. Timing is not so as critical because clock is not used as in asynchronous. Clock is used, so timing is very important. Timing is very critical. If you miss the time clock signal, that is, if you miss the clock signal, you are going to lose the data, right? But here the timing is not such critical, just like as for synchronous communication. And it is well suited for applications. It is also very fastly set up. Okay, and these are the advantages and disadvantages of synchronous and asynchronous communications. And when it comes to the modes of communication, you are having mainly three modes of communication. One is the simplex communication, another one is the half duplex communication, another one is the full duplex communication. In simplex communication, the data transfer takes place in only one way. So if you have a transmitter and if you have a receiver, you will be the data is only one way. That is, only transmitter can send the data to the receiver. No other way of communication. Just like your computer sends the data to the printer. Printer cannot again send back the data to the computer. It's a simplex communication. It's a only one way communication. Similarly, half duplex. Half duplex means you can do the communication in both ways, but only one can do. Okay, you can do the communication in both ways, but you will have a single line to do the communication. You have only one channel to perform the communication. So when transmitter is communicating with receiver, receiver cannot communicate. Okay, if transmitter is talking with a receiver or is sending the data to the receiver, receiver cannot do that again at the same time, but he can do it after the transmitter is done. Okay, once the transmitter has done the data transfer, then receiver can do the data transfer again. So data transmission can done at both ends. From both ends the data transfer can take place, but only one way. Okay, that is only one type of one communication, one channel communication is possible. Okay, now full duplex. When it comes to full duplex communication, two-way communication is possible. That is, you will have two channels for transmitting and receiving from both ends. Okay, so example for full duplex is our mobile phone. So we will be talking to other, and other also can talk to you at the same time, right? So that is full duplex communication. And walkie talkie, walkie talkie, one has to say it's over, then another one has to take over the phone. Okay, so that is a walkie talkie, we know very well about that. So simplex, half duplex and full duplex, these are three modes of communication. In simplex only one way of communication will be there, only one transmitting end will be there, one receiving end will be there. But when it comes to the half duplex communication, both can transmit and receive, but both cannot perform at a time simultaneously. They can do it. When it comes to full duplex, both can perform the transmission and reception at the same time. Okay, so that is three different modes of communications. Now we need to know few more points about these serial communications. Need to know few more points about this serial communication. So what is that? A few more points. How does the serial data transfer works? Okay, so most of the serial communication takes place in asynchronous format, as I told you, except a few. So here the first point is speed. Speed of data transfer. It depends on the five parameters. The five parameters are listed here. One of the five parameters is the speed. So speed also called as baud rate. Okay, speed also called as baud rate. So what is this baud rate? Means how many number of, okay, bits bauds you are transmitting per second. So how many number of bauds you are transmitting per second, we called as baud rate. So baud rate is having a relation with the bit rate. So what is that bit rate? Means number of bits you are transmitting per second. Baud means you will be having a group of bits. Okay, baud means a group of bits, like a group of 4 bits we called as a baud, or group of 8 bits we called as a baud, group of 5 bits we called as a baud. So group of 4, 5 or 6, 7, 8 bits, so we called as a baud. So baud rate means number of bauds you are transmitting per second, we called as the baud rate. So baud rate will be, number will be little bit lower when compared to the bit rate, because bits comes in more number when compared to the bauds. So this baud rate and bit rate, we are having a simple relation between the baud rate and bit rate, that is given a formula here. Formula is given for the relation between the baud rate and bit rate. You can see that relation here. BPS, okay, bit rate per second, number of bits you are transmitting per second. So communication, you need to measure the speed at which you are transmitting the data. It depends on number of bits you are transmitting per second is what the speed or the baud rate, okay, for your serial communication. So BPS is nothing but number of bits you are transmitting per second, bit rate. So that is number of bauds you are transmitting per second and number of bits per baud. Okay, so example is also given here. For example, if your bauds per second is 2400 bauds you are transmitting per second, so this is the baud rate. Okay, baud rate is, baud per second means baud rate. So baud rate is 2400 and number of bits is 4. Okay, so the speed at which they are transmitting is 9600 bits per second. So this is simple problem is given on that. So BPS is nothing but bitrate per second. So bitrate is having a relation with baud rate, that is bitrate per second is equal to baud rate per second into number of bits per baud. Assuming that baud rate per second is 2400 and number of bits you are transmitting per baud is 4 bits, then the maximum bit rate is 9600 bits per second. So per second you are transmitting the 9600 bits. Okay, so that is one parameter that we need to focus while discussing or working on the serial communication data transfers. Okay, another important point while working on this data is the number of data bits encoding a character. So how many number of data bits you are encoding. So the data is transferred in the form of data packets. Okay, so the data is transferred in the form of data packets. So how many number of bits you are having for a data packet? You can have 5 number of bits, 7 number of bits, or 8 number of bits. Number of bits encoded, okay, while transmitting the data is 5 bits or 7 bits 8 bits. You can have 5 bits of uh, packet, data packet, or 7 bits of data packet, or 8 bits of data packet. And then the next important point is the optional parity bit. So parity bit is used for checking the errors. So you can include an additional parity bit in the transmission. Okay, additional bit can be used in the transmission for checking the errors. So you can go for the odd parity of the transmission, or you can go for the even parity of the transmission. And the number of stop bits. Okay, so next one is number of stop bits. What is the number of stop bits? As I told, as we have already discussed, number of start bits can be 0 bits, sorry, 1 bits, or 1.5 bits, or 2 bits. Okay, 1 bit or 1.5 or 2 bits can be used for stop bits. And then the type of communication, mode of communication you want to use, like full duplex or half duplex or simplex operation that you want to use. So these are the 5 important parameters that we need to consider while working on the serial communication, right? The rate at which you are transmitting the data, and number of bits you are encoding in a character, and then how many number of start bits and stop bits you are using, and whether parity bits are used or not. If used, what is the parity bits used, like even parity bits or odd parity bits, and what is the type of communication you are, mode of communication you are using. It is you are using a full duplex communication, or half duplex, or simplex communication. Okay,